Barcelona, a team, Sandra, that has just ran through this Champions League run. Absolutely. And then not really surprisingly as well, because of the last 4 Champions Leagues, Barcelona has won 3 of them. They've won the last 2. They're looking to go for a three-peat. And they just crushed Chelsea. They blew them out 8-2 on aggregate. They looked like they were playing against bottom of the WSL table team instead of Chelsea, a team that is about to win the WSL. Sandra, Barcelona was so dominant all over the pitch. I mean, what makes Barcelona so good right now?
I mean, right now and in general, Barcelona's their tactics, but more so than that, their culture, their identity. I don't think we get any clear examples of the juggernaut that Barca has become over the last decade than in Champions League. There are moments where we have seen in these high stakes games closer to these top end rounds where the stakes are very high, but the competition is also incredibly elite as well. Typically, we saw them get challenged a little bit in last year's campaign, but even within those challenges, they constantly find a way, because the thing that teams aren't going to do against this Barcelona side as they exist is shake them of their cultural identity and their soccer footballing identity. That is something that is never shattered. We don't see them challenging that. We don't see them break that. It maybe there are moments where we can look back in last year's campaign to this year's campaign and say, okay, perhaps they're going to have, a grinder of a match. Maybe the other side will make it a bit more difficult if they try to kind of make things narrow, bunker in. Doesn't matter. They found a way last year, and they definitely found a way through this year. I mean, we're talking, it doesn't matter if it was the first leg or the second leg, and 4-1 in each leg. There's nothing within it to critique as far as weaknesses go at this point. They are the team to beat in Champions League.
Even the manner in which Barcelona came out against Chelsea, right? It was 3-0 by halftime. And then they got another one in the 90th minute. Chelsea didn't even get their one lone goal in this leg 2 until stoppage time at the end of the game. And it was almost like, okay, good try, little sister, time to go home. Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Like way to try, way to show up, which was it's so uncharacteristic of Chelsea. This is a team that has built their club over the last several years around winning Champions League. That is the goal for the Blues, because winning the WSL comes easily to them relatively at this point. They want to win Champions League. That's why saying goodbye to Emma Hayes was not necessarily in the cards for them, but they had to do that. So they said, okay, what do we do to win Champions League? We go out and get Sonia Bonpastor as our manager. And she has won it as a player. She has won it as a manager. This is going to be our ticket to get there. Now, there's a lot of injuries and a lot of rotation that Chelsea had to deal with in this game, but that all aside, Barcelona outplayed them in every single phase of it. Even if Chelsea had, in my opinion, Lauren James, if they had Katerina Macario starting, if they had full fitness, even Sam Kerr, I'm going to say, throw her into the mix at full fitness, Barcelona still outplayed Chelsea hands down in both of these legs. Jen, what did you notice?
Yeah, I actually totally agree. I don't think it's a reflection on Chelsea in a negative way. I think this is a reflection of how good Barcelona are. When I'm watching them, and whether it's Pina coming off the bench or Putellas coming back to form, watching Barcelona play is the style of play that every single team wants to play like, but don't necessarily have the players. And we're also seeing Barcelona having come through this generation of unbelievable academy players. There's just the strength and depth in that squad for it to come through, and they've been training this style of play since the majority of the team were kids. You're watching Bon Mati come through the ranks, and these guys have been training the way that they play since they were young.
And not even just the style and the tactics, but with each other as well.
Exactly. So no, I think we have to give all the respect to Barcelona and what they've done, because that kind of level on aggregate over 2 legs is unbelievable at semi-final. And trust me when I say the narrative back in England, Chelsea have dominated this season. So they really won back-to-back wins consecutive in WSL. Teams have struggled to compete with them in England week to week. Bon Pastor has done incredibly well, and you are right. Of course, they are missing Sam Kerr, Lauren James. I will say, I think starting Germa, it was a huge jump for her to come straight into that kind of level of game. Even playing Baltimore as a way forward, I think she's been unbelievable at the outside back role this season. But still, I think all the respect has to be given to Barcelona and what they've done against Chelsea over two legs. Even Wolfsburg prior, they've stormed to the final, and by far the favourites going in against Arsenal. It's the style of play; it's almost unmatched by anyone else. And we talk about compare them to Man City men. You know, the style of play that was unmatched at certain points. That's what you're seeing with this Barcelona women's team. They are phenomenal to watch. You're watching it thinking, "Wow."
Exactly. And not just in this semifinal, 4-1, both legs against Chelsea, but against Wolfsburg. It was a 4-1 win and then a 6-1 win. It is insane. So now we get to see Barcelona against Arsenal in the final. Barcelona, the clear favorites heading into this one. They face off May 24th, 12 noon Eastern time in Lisbon, Portugal, but it's just one match. It is a one-off. And Barcelona, they have dominated throughout this Champions League run in domestic play as well. And I'm going to be honest, guys, I'm nervous for Arsenal because they have gone down in leg one of both the quarters and the semis. And now they only have one game to do it, and they're going up against the champions. Jen, and they're coming off arguably Arsenal's best game of the year so far. Is it possible to do it again?
It's funny you say that, because actually one of the things that Kim said to me after was, thank goodness it's only one game. So I don't think you want to come up against Barcelona twice, right? Like, you want to just execute one game the best way possible. And I honestly think they'll have learned so much from the Chelsea game and kind of moments that they maybe think they could have done better. But this is a 90-minute, obviously the extra time is possible in a final, but I don't think you'd want to play Barcelona twice, because even if you nail it once, there's the thought, right, can we do that again? So I think they're quite happy that it's over one leg. But I understand what you're saying. They've had to come back from a deficit multiple times this season, and weren't able to get it done over 90 minutes against top teams. Always needed a second game. But I genuinely think they'll be quite glad this one's just one game and it's all or nothing on this one. Right?
Okay, you don't want to play him over two legs, but do you even really want to play him for like potentially 120 minutes? Like, come on.
Arsenal's like, can we petition for just a 45-minute game?
Yeah,
just do 45 against them.
No, man. I listen. Good on them. At this point, this is for all the marbles, right? Like, if you are the final two teams competing for this extremely prestigious title, you more than deserve to be there. You've earned your way there. And so, not to take nothing away from Arsenal, I know we've got a poll going right now to get people's takes. But again, I'm sure if you're the neutral, kind of zoning in on this potential final at the end of May, you're like, oh, surely this is Barca's got it in the bag, right? But that's not necessarily true because of all of these other kind of high stakes that kind of come into play. The one-off, that it's just one game to kind of crown the next winner. And I hope that, look, the tape is out there, right? They have a whole campaign. They have a whole slew of games to prep for this. I think alongside riding this big win into the final, Arsenal's got some of that momentum as well. They've got some of that belief, that the underdog component that folks aren't going to maybe have placed upon on them, that they're going to look at this game and say that it is Barca's to win and Arsenal's to lose. So I hope in that sense, they showcase some of their technique. So they showcase some of their ability to make those adjustments. It's not going to be like preparing for Lyon. You have to prepare for a very specific type of team. So I do hope, like we saw against Lyon, that there are moments where Arsenal can pick and choose and take it to Barcelona, but they're going to have to be incredibly calculated and strategic in some ways to do that. I mean, there's a lot of talent there across the board, and hopefully it ends up being a good game.
Arsenal has to give a lot of respect to Barcelona. I think they will. I think Renee Sledgers has done a good job all season, adjusting to the opponent, realizing the strengths of her own team and her players. And yes, to build off of what Arsenal did in leg 2 against Lyon is to pick and choose their moments. They're going to have to sit back, though. They are not going to be able to be as fluid and free flowing and open and aggressive as they were, especially as that Lyon game went on. They have to sit back. They have to defend for their lives against Barcelona, try to just keep them in front of them. So Champions League final is May 24th, 12 noon, Arsenal against Barcelona.